If you thought that every video I would be doing the same strategy in getting an early amulet coin, gradually growing my team and my economy while focusing on a specific synergy, well, first of all, it's an honor that you've been thinking about me. I've been thinking about you too. But in this video, I hope to show you something completely different. The first 2 rounds of the game, we buy everything focusing on pairs, right? Yeah, looks pretty standard so far. I've bought out the shop. I've got a pair of Poliwags. Let's win against these Magikarps and speed through the battle. Alright, round 2. Let's stick to the plan and buy out the shop. Or maybe I'm gonna sell off all my units. And I'm also not gonna buy any other units. We'll see if Swinub can take on these Rattatas. It turns out, a relatively strong frontline unit equipped with the damage boosting charcoal is usually just enough to beat these Rattatas with very low stats, on top of the fact that Rattata's ability is not very impactful, and this means we can actually win this round with 10 money. This was previously relatively easy to do when you would get gold at the end of non-player rounds, but in the new patch where we're all money starved, this is the only way to get up to 10 money in round 2 and start growing your economy even earlier than normal. Now, you might be looking at my team and my empty bench and thinking, where's your team? How are you going to survive the early rounds? There's no way you're going to win if everyone else has been growing their team. And to that, I say, good, because a guaranteed loss streak is just going to be more money. Also, this round I do have to buy some temporary units, because unfortunately a single Swinub is not enough to solo 3 Spearows, but we do have more than 10 gold now and not miss out on any potential income. And I also lock this Igglybuff in my shop. While this goes on, I cycle through my opponents just to see what they're doing, what kind of Pokemon they've been adding to their teams. I'm keeping my eye out for other players who may be trying to lose intentionally, whether that's because they're going for baby synergy eggs or they're doing the same strategy as myself. Because my strategy right now, commonly referred to as the open fort, is to lose no matter what. Because by not buying any Pokemon and having a guaranteed loss streak, I'll be able to develop a very strong economy early on, as well as a guaranteed egg once I find 3 babies. And using that egg, alongside the unique Pokemon I'll get from the unique portal, I'll be able to jumpstart building my late game team, and I'll hopefully have a level and income advantage to support this. So every round I'll be locking in babies in the shop. I'm glancing at every one of my opponents. I notice a ton of babies and another player who's sacrificed his early units for a Ditto. So what's the only thing that can lose to a single Ditto or a team of 3 babies? The answer is nothing, so I sell off everything that I own. And check out what happens in this round. My opponent has 3 babies, he's hoping for a loss, and I say to that, nope, you're not getting an egg. You get nothing. Their baby team wins, denying them an egg. And I also have 20 money. And nobody else does, because that's not possible if you have Pokemon in play or an expensive Ditto. And look at this, the player with the baby team is checking me out. They're like, what the heck are you doing? I was supposed to lose that round. Sorry, friend. I'm sitting here with 30 money now and an empty board. For my draft, I picked up a Smoochum, which is another baby, alongside a Twisted Spoon. Now, the funny thing about this Smoochum is that even though it's a baby, I might be inclined to sell it because I still want to lose this round. I want to maintain my loss streak and guarantee the egg when I do decide to swap in the babies. So I'm watching this player who has the Ditto because a single Smoochum might actually beat a single Ditto. But once I see that they've picked up some Larvitars, I know I'm in the clear. I don't have to sell off my Smoochum. And my single Smoochum enters battle alone and loses. So, at this point, I could take this further, but I'm sitting at an awkward 39 money. The only way I can get to 40 money is by selling the Smoochum. But if I do sell it, there's no guarantee I'll be able to find it again. So I decide, let's just go for the egg now. 3 babies shouldn't be beating anyone else's team. See, there's a lot of players in this game going for eggs, but they all have a 4th unit. And I also position my babies in the worst possible configuration, putting the squishy backline support units in front, and putting the frontline damage-dealing Pichu alone in the back, and it works out just fine. Usually, open fort strategies will keep that loss streak going all the way up until that Gyarados round. That way you maximize getting to 50 money as fast as possible. But I'm quite happy with how this game is turning out so far, and I am able to pick up an egg with a Grubbin. With our egg Pokemon revealed, it's time to start thinking about what I want to build late game. Grubbin has bug and electric synergy, so the simplest answer is a bug team, an electric team, or a mix of both. No bugs or electric Pokemon in my shop right now, so I just pick up the strongest units. I'm not expecting a win or anything, but I do want to make sure that I can beat the Gyarados that's coming up. So my jank team is definitely going to lose to this team. That's fine, I get more money from the loss streak than I would from winning. During the next Pokemon and item draft, I decide to pick up a Fossil Stone. It also comes alongside a Cacnea, which I can put in my temporary grass team. I'll definitely dive deeper into grass synergy in another video, but just know that it gives some health regen. You'll also accrue some single-use healing items, which, spoiler alert, I don't use in this video. But I will continue to look for some Pokemon that will work with Grubbin. For example, this Weedle, which has bug synergy. I'm expecting yet another loss here, which is fine. The reason why I can afford to lose round after round early on is because the damage that you take for losing a round is determined by the current round number divided by 2, plus the number of surviving Pokemon from your opponent's team. So in the very early stages where players only have 4 or 5 Pokemon, it's totally fine to lose single digits worth of health, while your money grows in the double digits. Alright, stage 9, we're facing off Gyarados. If you haven't been focusing on your team, Gyarados can definitely be a little bit scary. Thankfully, Grass and Bug Synergy should be able to take him on. But just to make sure, I equip my Grubbin with some strong ability casting items, an Aqua Egg and some choice specs. And with the big bursts of damage from our Grubbin, Gyarados is no problem at all. And for our unique Pokemon carousel, I don't see any electrics, so I'll try to get into this bug portal. Thankfully, the portal goes uncontested as I take my leisurely stroll across the field. And no electric synergies here, but I do get my bug synergy in Scyther. Scyther on its own is a strong frontline bug unit, but it has the potential to evolve even further. You need to give it either a black Augurite or a metal coat. And those are items that you obtain through rock synergy or artificial synergy. So that's something I'll keep in my mind. I'll have to bench some rock synergies and some artificial synergies, see if I can generate one of those 2 items that I need. For now, it's time to drop the losing streak and preserve as much health as I can. With what I'm able to find in the shop, I can hit Bug 4 synergy, which will give me 2 Scythers and 2 Grubbins in the upcoming battle. I pick up a Geodude because it has rock synergy, and Magnemite because it has electric synergy. Anyways, the newly assembled team absolutely dominates the next battle. Our opponent didn't have the strongest team, but I'm still very happy with what I saw. In the next draft, I pick Bonsly for a number of reasons. Firstly, it gives me a Black Glasses, which I can use to make a Wonder Box. Secondly, Bonsly has rock synergy, so I can use my Geodude with it to see if I can get that Black Augurite. Unfortunately, my Rock 2 synergy gives me Damp Rock. That's not what I need. But third, Bonsly is a baby Pokemon. And if my team continues to perform well, I'm at a comfortable enough health total to go for a Golden Egg. I also add a Shinx to the team to hit Electric 3 synergy, which I will now explain as our team decimates a pack of babies. With Electric 3 synergy, our electric Pokemon will have every 4th attack doubled. So if you saw in that battle the word Zap popping up, that represents our electric Pokemon's doubled attack. And during item carousel, I am mostly interested in picking up a Magnet, since by combining that with a Fossil Stone, I can make a Thunderstone. And that will give me a lot of versatility in pursuing the exact synergies that I want while maintaining my electric synergy. So in the next round, I make that Thunderstone and I equip it onto my Scyther, giving him electric synergy. And that means every 4th hit he performs is doubled. I also see there are 2 babies in my shop, which would give me 7. However, I'm not yet able to hit level 7, at least not without spending my interest money. So for now, I'll just lock the shop and sell off the non-baby Pokemon. And our next battle with our electric Scyther goes off quite well. I should note that the cloned bug Pokemon don't come with the items that the original copies are holding. So unfortunately, the copied Scyther doesn't have electric synergy, but that's okay, it's still a very strong unit comparatively. Alright, in this round we're able to hit level 7, and I could do a baby 7 synergy right now, but the odds of getting a Golden Egg are based on your current loss streak. But my team is currently on a pretty good win streak, and I don't want to throw that all away just for a low chance of a Golden Egg. So for now, I'm just going to hold on to those babies in my bench, and I plan to dump all of my excess money into experience, and I'll swap in the 7 babies for that golden egg once my team actually loses. And if my team does keep winning, like it does in this round, I'll just keep riding that win streak money and growing my experience. In round 14, our Grubbin evolves into Charjabug? I don't actually know how to pronounce that. But that's really nice. The hatch Pokemons are great in these kind of situations where I don't have the means to make my team stronger right now. I mean, my bench is completely full, but with Grubbin being one of our strongest team members, and he's also getting copied from Bug Synergy, so the free evolution to Charjabug, it's a pretty significant upgrade to the team without having to spend any gold for it. Anyways, during this non-player round, I decided to make a Wonder Box. We pick up a Miracle Seed, and I draft a Magnet, hoping for more Thunderstones in our future. And we continue with our plan. I dump excess money into experience, and next battle, whether I win or lose, I'm happy either way. And finally, against this well-evolved Dragon team, our Electric Bug team finally gets taken down. Alright, it's time to swap in our babies. A little dicey to do this at 50 health, but I am quite confident in our team, and we do have lots of money in reserve to spend if we need to. Losing this round gives us a 50% chance of getting a golden egg. I also notice a Beldum in the shop, which is an artificial synergy Pokemon. I can use that alongside another artificial Pokemon to check for the artificial 2 synergy item. Just reminding, our Scyther will evolve if it's able to find a metal coat, which is obtained from artificial synergy. And in battle, our baby team was knocked down really quickly. So let's see, do we hit the 50% chance? We do. Quite lucky, but I'll take it. We did have the HP capacity to do another loss, but this late into the game, I don't want to be lower than 30 health. So I'm glad I didn't have to commit to that. Anyways, item carousel, there's no fossil stones, so I'll just pick up a Mystic Water. Now it's time to act quickly, sell off all the babies, and reassemble the team. I pick up and toss in the Beldum. He does have Steel Synergy, and he has half of the Artificial 2 Synergy, since we are looking for that metal coat. I do a few shop rolls, and I'm able to find another artificial Pokemon in Elekid. And look at that, with Artificial 2, I'm able to find the metal coat, which gets us a Scizor, a Steel Bug Pokemon. As the battle starts, our opponent's team looks very strong, so it's looking to be a loss and we'll be at a very low amount of health now. But something notable about my team is that I've noticed that I've suddenly amassed a lot of steel Pokemon. The metal coat that I would get from artificial synergy would give me additional steel synergy, and in the shop I'm able to find a bunch of Honedges, and I'm able to evolve it immediately into Doublade. This is yet another steel and artificial Pokemon. It's late into the game, I have low health, basically only one more round lost to spare, but the stars are aligning for me to pivot into a late game steel synergy. So, as I'm firing all the synapses in my brain to figure out how to restructure my team in these extremely critical rounds, I'm like stun locked trying to figure out who can hold on to this metal coat. It gives defense and steel synergy, and you can only equip it to a Pokemon that doesn't already have steel synergy, so I'll just drop it on this Venonat. And then I finally realize, wait, why do I still have this Bonsly in my team? He gets sold off as my Steel 6 team starts the battle. And here, we can see the power of late game Steel Synergy. Let's finally explain Steel Synergy. Steel Synergy converts a percentage of damage dealt into true damage, meaning it will ignore all defenses. We're currently sitting at Steel 6 Synergy, which means our Steel Pokemon are dealing 100% true damage. In this round of the game, we're also able to get our Golden Egg item, an Eviolite. If you're watching these videos in order of release, that's 3 Eviolites in a row. I'd love to show off more shiny items, but I guess that's gonna have to be a future video. I should also note that our Charjabug evolved into Vikavolt. Anyways, at this point of the game, we have a non-player round. Much needed, as I am currently trying to figure out how to balance these 4 synergies that I'm pursuing. I'm also trying to figure out who to equip my Eviolite with, but upon a shop reroll, I'm able to get a Metang, and I wasn't fast enough to equip it this round, but we'll get him after the Lugia and Ho-Oh fight. I'm also able to evolve my Magnemite into Magneton, and I find another steel Pokemon in Ferroseed in the shop. And coming up next is our legendary Pokemon Carousel. The number one priority for me is hitting that Steel 8 synergy. There is a fantastic Steel Artificial Bug Pokemon that would fit my team perfectly, but the most important synergy for me overall is that Steel symbol. So I enter a Steel portal to guarantee finding a Steel Legendary, and I'm able to find Magearna. Magearna has both Steel and Artificial synergy, which fits in great with my current team. Unfortunately, it looks like if I do want to hit that Steel 8 synergy, I'll have to drop out of my Bug 4 synergy down to Bug 2, but now I can put in 7 Steel Pokemon alongside my Vikavolt holding onto a Metal Coat, giving me one of the strongest late game synergies, Steel 8. Now, all of my Steel Pokemon will be dealing 120% of their original damage in true damage. It's also time to start throwing around my items. I equip my Metang with an Eviolite and a Fire Gem. I decide to give my Magearna some tanky shielding items. And I gotta say, now my team is looking absurdly strong. We'll have to see how it fares in battle. We do still have the potential to get to level 9, and ideally, our future 9th member of our team should have a Bug or Artificial synergy. And let's see our Steel 8 team in action. We're taking on a well-evolved Dragon 7 team. Lots of damage coming in from our opponent's Mega Rayquaza, but the rest of their team got bursted down so quickly. It's looking like a pretty close battle, but our tanky Magearna is able to hold on, and it helps out our 2 Vikavolts take down the last 2 enemy Pokemon. Definitely a close battle, but our team has a lot of potential to grow still. Starting with replacing that early game Pineco with a late game Pawniard, and we can still evolve a bunch of our Pokemon, but we can also hit level 9. I buy a bit of experience, I do a few rolls, work on my evolutions, and in the shop, I'm able to find a Shuppet. Shuppet is great because it is a late game unit, and if I add it as a 9th member to my team, I'll be able to hit Artificial 4 synergy as well as Ghost 2 synergy. So once again, to maximize my interest, I will lock the shop, sell everything except for the Shuppet, as we face off with this Ghost team, which is actually quite scary. Ghost synergy now has the chance to dodge attacks, and while our Steel true damage might be able to avoid defenses, the attacks can still be dodged, but the dodging is not enough as our Steel team prevails. And we get another item carousel. I pick up a Muscle Band for some scaling power and defense. And while I'm winning these battles, they are a little too close to comfort. So I decide to just dump my money into hitting level 9, throw in the Shuppet for Artificial 4 and Ghost 2 synergy. This will give us another artificial item, as well as extra stats on our artificial Pokemon, which increases with the number of items that they hold. That's going to be a pretty big boon for our Magearna and Metang. I also want to give this Metal Coat to my Shuppet, the reason being that the Metal Coat gives defense, and our Vikavolt is a backline unit. So by benching all my artificial Pokemon, I lose artificial synergy, which also makes me lose the Metal Coat. And then by putting my artificial Pokemon back in, I'm able to reobtain those items and redistribute everything. My artificial 4 item is the Electrizer, which provides a huge boost to attack speed as well as some on-hit effects. Perfect for a backline Pokemon that has electric synergy. And here we're facing yet another Dragon team. A lot of strong Pokemon on our opponent's team. But as the battle ends, it's pretty clear that their team just can't keep up with our Steel team's damage output. Looking at the damage charts, however, I realize that Vikavolt does more damage with its ability than it does with its attacks. So I decide to redistribute those artificial items once again, because I figure with its current items, Metang might be able to use that more effectively anyways. I also consider giving the Metal Coat back to Vikavolt, giving it the Steel synergy again, but I ultimately decide against it. I'm happy with the damage that Vikavolt is dealing with its ability alone, and overall items are just better on artificial Pokemon because they do get that additional stat boost. So we'll press onwards to the next battle. Since we're winning everything, I'm comfortable holding onto my money. And our next opponent has a ground team, which is easily countered by our Steel team. Their gradually increasing defenses are irrelevant to our true damage, so this one's going to be a comfortable victory. And going into the next non-player round, we're back at 50 money. While we're here, I want to talk about how Steel synergy is a great late game synergy, but I wouldn't recommend pursuing Steel early on. The early stages of Steel synergy only give a small percentage of damage converted to true damage, on top of the fact that early on most Pokemon won't have a lot of defense. So early on, Steel 2 synergy is not going to give you as much of a benefit as, say, Bug 2 will. Anyways, with this non-player round defeated, I pick up a Choice Scarf. This is normally an item I would consider to be weaker than the others. Its effect is that it will apply some additional damage to adjacent Pokemon. On paper that does sound nice, but it's not always reliable because Pokemon are always jumping around and a good opponent will position around it. But I think on a team like Steel, which is focused on just dealing lots of damage with its basic attacks, it works out pretty well. Also, I just evolved my Shuppet into a Banette. And just before the next battle begins, I'm able to evolve Pharaoh Seed into a Pharaoh Thorn. And here's a battle against yet another Dragon team. This is against a player who's sitting quite comfortably in first place. And dang, their team just stood no chance against ours. I mean, they do have a strong Mewtwo in the backline, but their frontline just disappeared way too quickly. Alright, so this is a great sign for our team. We have beaten all remaining players in the game, and as we all know from real life business, past performance is 100% indicative of future results. But just in case it isn't, I should have enough health for one more loss, and I have a lot of money to spend and even more room to grow. Alright, next battle, here we go. Another Dragon team. Our Steel team consists of veteran Dragon Slayers at this point. I gotta say, this opponent has itemized their carries really well. Tons of damage coming from their Giratina and Gliscor. It does look to be kinda close, but yet another win for our team. We've got yet another item carousel. I pick up a Gracidia flower, which will provide attack speed to its holder and adjacent allies. It's perfect for our row of frontline attacking Steel Pokemon. I equip that to our Banette, and then stick our strongest 2 units beside him. I'm also able to evolve my Pawniard into Bisharp, and the next battle against our opponent's ground team is an absolute wash. Quite unfortunate for that player, because that team would normally be very strong, but it's pretty much never going to beat a Steel 8 team. After that round, there's only 2 players left. We're also at a non-player round, taking a quick peek at our opponent's team. Their team doesn't seem too threatening compared to mine, but I could have my Bisharp go hunting for that Mewtwo, which would help guarantee a victory, because Bisharp is a Dark-type melee Pokemon, and he will leap to the back line, as demonstrated against this Suicune. Our reward for this non-player round doesn't provide us with any standout items, but the Soldew isn't bad on our backline Vikavolt, giving it additional ability power as the battle goes on. At this point, I can just keep evolving my Pokemon. I'm able to evolve a second Metang, but I don't make the same mistake I made in the last video. I am fully aware my Metang is holding an Eviolite. My goal is to transfer its items onto my Bisharp. It might not make the most significant difference, but I do like the idea of Bisharp being my last surviving Pokemon in a battle because of its really cool ability. And after this battle, yet another win. We are quickly approaching the final round of the game. So in this round, let's do that item swap. Our Bisharp is now completely kitted out. And let's just spend away our money trying to get some more evolutions. Oh, and might as well put that Bisharp beside the Banette for the Gracidia flower boost. And it's time for our team to face off the dragons again. Another comfortable battle, and just look at our Bisharp hopping around like a madman, just completely decimating Pokemon after Pokemon. And as we enter what will likely be the final round of the game, I've got too much money in my bank to roll through, but that's a pretty nice problem to have. I am able to find 2 Onyxes and a Ditto. Onyx doesn't have Steel Synergy, but once it evolves into Steelix, it does. Steelix is a stronger Pokemon than Ferrothorn, so it will take its place. And as we approach the final battle of the game, I'm gonna mute the in-game sound effects because it's just gonna be rolling noises. Let's enjoy the final battle from our veteran Dragon Slayers. Goodbye, dragons. Goodbye, Mewtwo. And that's game. Just want to give a quick shout out to Timmy Turned That on YouTube. He's a much better auto chess player than I am, and it's pretty much from his video where I learned how the open fort strategy works. Also, thank you for all the kind comments in the last video. It's all very much appreciated. And with that, thanks for watching.